Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
This is the Ramsey Show, where we help you win in life. We want to help you win with your money. We want to help you win in your work, and we want you to win in your relationships. The phone number for your questions is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. I'm Ken Coleman, and I'm joined by the illustrious, the incomparable, the fabulous Jade Warshaw, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? I gave you three adjectives today.
Listen, my eyebrows couldn't keep up. I was trying to keep up with you.
I like that. So we are here for you. Jade will take the lead on those money questions, and then anything related to your work. Specifically, how do I make more income so we can get through these baby steps faster? I want to help you ideate on those questions, so give us a dial, 888-825-5225. We started off in the ATL, where April joins us. April, how can we help today?
Hi. So my question is, do I sell my home to get out of debt and a bad marriage?
Maybe.
Wow.
Tell us more.
Yeah. So I got married less than a year ago. I didn't know I was going to be emotional. I got married less than a year ago, and I came to the marriage with debt.
Okay.
I have about $91,000 of debt. That is not including the home. My home is worth about $180,000 positive, so I have 180 in equity.
Okay.
My marriage has gotten progressively more toxic to the point of verbal threats of harm. It's already been emotionally and verbally abusive, but now there are threats of harm. So my question is, would it be a good idea to sell my home, to start over from scratch financially, and to get out of this marriage?
Well, let's start with the most important thing first, which is getting into a safe place and out of this marriage.
Yeah.
That's thing number one. Do you have a plan in place that you're able to put into action immediately?
There's somewhere I could go. I could always go to my mom's house.
Yeah, you
because
should.
we live together. I could always go to my mom's house. I don't have a plan. I'm just confused at this point.
I do think you need to go to your mom's house, because any man that would make a threat to physically harm you, you can't stay there tonight.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This was not what you pictured when you said I do. No one pictures that, right?
No.
Okay. Deep breath for both of us. All right. You're going to mom's house tonight, and we're going to come up with a plan that you can move out, be on your own, and feel like you have some confidence. Yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about what you're earning. What are you bringing in every month?
As little as $6,000. I'm in commissions.
Okay.
I get paid commission, so as little as $6,000, as much as 10.
Okay. 6 to 10.
What do you do?
Car sales.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good job. All right. So can you kind of go through this $91,000 of debt with me, just so I can get a handle on what it is? Can you kind of itemize it for me?
Yeah, so around $50,000 in student loans, about $10,000 in a personal loan, 50 student loans, $10,000 personal loans, $6,000 on a car.
Okay.
And $25,000 on credit cards.
Okay.
25,000 or 2,500?
Thousand.
Okay.
Haven't made great choices on.
Is this in your name or his name? Both of your names?
This is the debt I brought.
Okay. And do you guys currently share your finances? Like, are you sharing bank accounts? Are you sharing that sort of thing?
Not anymore. We tried the Financial Peace University. As soon as it came time to put it in act, he immediately put our joint account in the negative. So I don't contribute to that account anymore.
Okay. So for all intents and purposes, you're separate.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So tell me about the living situation. Are you guys renters? Do you own a house together? Tell me about that.
He owns his own home, which he's renting out, and I own my own home that we live in.
Which is the one you told us you had the equity in.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's your home.
Yeah.
So you can, it's when I say it's as easy, it's not easy, but you can ask him to move out.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so head back around this. Okay, so what about savings? Do you have any savings?
No, I'm in a financial distress, which I haven't experienced since I was very young.
Okay.
And to be married and experiencing it now is crazy.
Are you behind on anything?
No.
Okay.
No, I had to think about that for a second. No, everything's current.
Okay, that's a good place. So the good news is in this way, you're not really beholden to anybody. You're not dependent in the way that this is his house, or you have a level of independence here that's, in this case, good. And at this point, really, it's just, if you're talking about the financial side, it's you walking the baby steps like anybody else. The good news is, I think you have a good income. Obviously, it's better when you make $10,000 in a month, but there might be the situation where you can add to that in side hustles. Do you have any children, or do you guys have any kids together?
No kids together. I have a child in college, and I'm paying for him to breathe.
Okay, but no little kids, nobody at home that needs your time. So for you, the name of the game, I mean, it's twofold, just like we would tell anybody else. We're looking for ways to get the income up, whether that's you side hustling, maybe you can take on more time at the dealership, whatever that looks like that makes sense for you, and then it's bringing the expenses down. So that's what we're looking at. And at the end of the day, we're taking these debts smallest to largest, right, Ken? I mean, $6,000 car first.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get some momentum. But I think in conjunction with what's going on here, I think because you own the home that you guys are currently living in, I think we got to play serious with this guy. And I think you have to say, you're never going to threaten me again, or I'm calling the authorities. I'm going to my mom's house until you move out. And this can all be pressed pause on if you agree to go to counseling. But at this point, when a man threatens you, I think he's gone way too far, and I would call him out on it and say, never again. You made your last threat. Now, if you want to go get some therapy and you want to, we can sit down with a professional where you feel safe. But I agree with what Jade said, but I would let him know that I'm moving to protect myself, and I'm giving you X amount of days to get all your stuff out. And the next time I see you, we'll be in divorce proceedings, unless you're willing to sit down and try to rescue this marriage, because I always love the idea of, let's try that. We'll see if this guy's the real deal when you come to that. But I think at this point, you have to play hardball with him and say, this is my home. I'm in debt. As you said, I'm in financial distress. So in this case, Jade, answering the initial question, I don't think you have to sell this house. But I think that if this house represents a lot of pain, and this thing does go the route of divorce, it might not be a bad idea to sell it, start fresh anyway, so you have some good mojo in the next house as you get healthy. But not neither one of us are saying you have to sell this house. You make pretty good money.
Yeah.
And I think Jade's right. I think if you just get serious and take care of yourself, and this is part of it, I think you can walk this out and you make really good money. I think you have some extra motivation right now to sell as many cars as possible. So.
Yeah. And hey, don't keep this a secret. A lot of people would keep this a secret. Make sure you get some good girlfriends around you. This is the time. If you got brothers, call up your brothers, call up your dad, call up your grandfather, call up your pastor. These are times where you let people know what's going on and that you need help and that you need people around you, and let them help you and be there with you when you confront this person for the first time.
Yeah, thank you so much for the call. We're rooting for you. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, here's a quick math refresher. There are only 24 hours in a day. So you and your team need to streamline time-consuming tasks to focus on the activities that actually make money. Smart businesses are realizing that to reduce headaches as they scale, they need NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one platform. With NetSuite, you reduce IT costs because NetSuite is cloud-based. You cut the cost of maintaining multiple systems because you've got one source of truth. And you improve efficiency by bringing all your major business processes into one platform, slashing manual tasks and errors. So join the 37,000 plus companies, including Ramsey Solutions, that have done the math and are boosting their efficiency with NetSuite. And right now, download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist designed to drive the right behaviors for your business absolutely free at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey to get your free KPI checklist.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. Thrilled to have you with us. 888-825-5225 is the phone number. 888-825-5225. Want to help you win with your money, win with your work and income, and win in your relationships. Jade Warshaw joins me. I'm Ken Coleman. We're thrilled to have you. And Jade, my notes said it's time. You've got the details there, so I'm going to bring you in here on this because you are a person who has done how many cruises? Like, how many cruises have you been on?
I probably couldn't give you a number, but I can tell you oh gosh.
X amount of, how many cruises per year for how many years?
Well, I did about, I probably did about 40 weeks a year for a long time.
Okay, so how many years would you say?
A decade.
So minimum 400 cruises.
Well, no, because you can go on for I would go on for 3 days and leave and then go on another one in 5 days and leave.
So I'm going to double it. 800 cruises.
I've been to 92 countries, Ken.
Yeah. And you were a professional singer.
Yeah.
And so when you hear about the Live Like No One Else cruise, are you serious? I can't get away. I've been on the land for a long time. Now you're back, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be fun. Listen, this one's going to be different.
But you're speaking this time.
Yes.
You're not singing.
I'm not.
Unless you decide to spontaneously lead the crowd in some type of thing. But
play us a song, Piano Man. Just kidding. I would never.
There it is. But you're going to be speaking along with Dave Ramsey, myself, John Deloney.
Yeah.
Rachel Cruz,
7
George
days.
Camel. 7 days at sea.
Yeah. March 22nd through 29th. This is coming up next year, and we'll be stopping in Turks and Caicos.
I'm excited about that.
St. Thomas.
Love that.
Puerto Rico.
Love that country.
The Bahamas.
Well, territory.
Yeah. Yes, a territory there. And here's the thing. We are starting to see cabins running low. So if you want to do any type of VIP upgrade, those are basically sold out. So if you're even trying to pick up a cabin, you need to log on now to do that. If you want one with an ocean view, you need to get your deposit in now. The deposit is $600. So for anybody thinking, man, I got to pay for the whole thing up front, it's not really like that. You pay $600 and then at the next appointed time, you pay the other money. So that's the way it works. You can book your cabin today at ramseysolutions.com/cruise and we'll be there.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
We'll be there.
Make your decision now. And again, these are for people that are in baby steps 4, 5, 6, and 7, obviously.
That is right.
So if you're not there, sorry, but now you have a little extra motivation beyond all your other dreams and goals as well.
That's right.
Going to be a lot of fun, going to sell out, and I got to see if I can get that the captain's hat from Gilligan's Island.
I have a couple.
But I want to get it on Dave. At some point, I want to get him to put it on without frowning at me or shouting an insult.
He might frown at you. I could definitely see that.
But I think people want to see that.
They do.
So I'm going to get my hands on one of those and get him to, through crowd pressure, put that on.
I expect to see you in a captain's hat, Ken.
Well, that's easy.
You're going to be in linen.
Trust me.
You're going to be in your Uncle Cage sandals.
I'm going to look like I stepped out of the J. Crew Ralph spring edition of the catalog. There's no question about it. I've already got 2 different types of deck shoes I'll be wearing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
well,
win in Rome,
Well, my copy here says that we've got big news, and it said that the big news was the Live Like No One Else cruise. But I know about some other big news, Ken. It's your birthday.
Oh, you did it to me. I didn't know where you were going at first.
It's your birthday, guys. It is Ken Coleman, Kenneth Wayne Coleman. It is his birthday. He is turning 40 for the second time in 10 years. Also known as 50.
Yeah, you know what? Men are not ashamed of this, folks. I'm 50 today. The big 50.
Ken, keep doing what you're doing.
I'm trying. You're
making
moisturizer.
It look good, Ken.
It's the moisturizer.
All right, you do that.
But thank you. Yes, thank you, Jade. You'll have to sing to me later today. I've got to get that Whitney Houston style. Can you do that after the show? Save a little bit?
I'll save it for you.
a little bit for the gathering.
Okay.
All right. So fun. Yes. Can't believe I'm 50, James. It got here a lot faster than I thought.
I never thought you were a day over 35, Ken.
Thank you. Well, the Botox helps. All right. Columbus, Ohio is where we go. Amy is waiting for us. Amy, how can we help?
Hi, I'm wondering if I should take a job offer from a approach from a company. This would be about $30,000 more. However, the schedule wouldn't be as great. Or if I should stay with my current company, who I just started with in May, for a better schedule.
Okay. So if I'm hearing this right, this is as simple as better pay versus better schedule. Is that about right?
You are correct.
And which way are you leaning before you called us?
It was so hard. Of course, I love the personal time. This $30,000 raise would also bring more opportunities for growth later. It is a leadership position.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, there's the responsibilities of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you feel about that part of it?
I enjoy helping people, and I enjoy guiding people. Of course,
Good.
It's completely different when you're the person that's always the one that someone's looking towards. So it's definitely intimidating, and I think that's the biggest part. I'm intimidated, and I don't know if it's the right move.
So that's probably more of a factor than the schedule issue, correct?
Quite possibly.
Yeah, it's scary. Have you ever led before, been in any type of supervisor role before?
I have for a short period, yes.
And how did you do? How would you grade yourself?
Especially since I was very new at it, I did well. Probably about a B, because of course there's always room for growth. But
Good for you.
people said that they enjoyed what I did and enjoyed helping, or they enjoyed me helping them. Excuse me.
What if I told you that you could be a really great leader if you just asked 2 questions every week? Would you believe me?
I would try to.
Okay. So I'm going to give you 2 questions. I want to address this and then let's get to your decision. But real quick, I just want to take the fear factor out of leadership. And it is intimidating, by the way, and that's very natural to feel. But if you were to boil leadership down to 2 basic actions, I believe it takes away the intimidation factor, and I think it's going to make you extremely effective. And here are the 2 questions. And this is for your direct reports, and I think you do this on a weekly basis. The first question is, how are you doing? That is not a greeting in the hallway. How you doing? It is a look them in the eye and go, hey, how are you doing? Everything good? And you should know enough about them to where you can just lean in. And we're not talking about getting up in their business. We're talking about what little bit they share. They will begin to share more over time. But how are you doing as a person? Okay, I heard your dog was sick, or word is that your mom's going through something. You know, whatever they're sharing, you've heard it, and you lean in as a person to say, how are you doing? To let them know that you care. The more you ask that question, the more they will know you care, and the more they will trust you, which leads to the second question. And they will be willing to answer the second question the more they give you answers on the first one. And the second question is, how can I help you win? Okay? And that is, people want to know that their leaders know what they're dealing with. Do they have the resources? Do they have the time? Are you tuned in to what's going on in their job? If you ask those questions on a weekly basis, over time, you will develop unbelievable communication and trust through the transparency that's going on with those 2 questions. You got it?
Yes.
Now, that will make you a really effective leader. I promise you. Okay. Now, let's just talk about the decision. The long term is what I was going to ask you about, and you already gave us that answer. So you said this job with more money also gives me more opportunity long term. For me, I'm going to go with the long term opportunity as long as the new schedule change isn't some type of massive disruption that would make my family life such a dumpster fire, Jade, that it wouldn't be worth the long-term opportunity and the short-term pay. What do you think?
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
So is that the case then, Amy? Will the new schedule be super negative or disruptive to your personal life?
It would be somewhat of a disruption. This is, if I could say, it's for hospice, and my availability would have to be pretty much 24/7 for a short period of time, at least a year, until we get full staff on board, because of course things can happen in an instant. That would mean I'm missing holidays as well.
So here's the deal. Can you do that for a year for the payoff?
I think I would like to.
Well, then I think you got your answer. We never get to answer these questions. Our job is to poke around, tell you what we think.
That's good.
But I think you're ready to take this new role, and I think for a year, you and your family can step up. By the way, Jade, I'll give you the last word on this. We got about 30 seconds. I think it's all in how she communicates this to all of the family members that will be affected.
I agree.
They can kind of jump in and support.
Yeah, I think so. Understanding it's a short, like we always say, short-term sacrifice, long-term gain.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so we are in agreement. Go for it. Stack that extra cash. I like that $30,000 bump and what that can do in the short term to set you up for the long term as well. Don't move. More of your calls coming up. This is The Ramsey Show.
You know, it doesn't take a degree in statistics to realize that this one stinks. 93% of undergraduate private student loans are co-signed. So when you're delinquent and drowning in private student loan debt, mom or dad or Uncle Joe is stuck in that financial stress along with you. But there is a way out. Why Refi? Why Refi offers a custom refinancing option with a fixed rate loan based on your ability to pay. And the average interest rate Why Refi offers is 3.9%, which can significantly reduce your monthly payment and decrease your total cost. Why Refi refinances your defaulted private student loans that other places won't touch. And I trust them to help you get out of debt. So don't be another statistic in the student loan swamp. Contact Why Refi at 844-2-RAMSEY or go to whyrefi.com/Ramsey. That's 844-2-RAMSEY or the letter Y, then REFY.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. Jade Warshaw joins me. The phone number is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Let's go to Indianapolis, Indiana, where Zachary joins us. Zachary, how can we help today?
Hi, how are you guys?
We're doing great. What's going on?
So, I'll cut to the chase. Monday, I lost my house in a house fire.
What?
For at least 4 months. Yeah.
Oh my God.
What do you mean at least for 4 months? Was it total?
It was contained to one room, thankfully, but we had a lot of stuff in that room that the room is completely gone. They have to completely gut it and reconstruct it, I guess.
Okay, nobody was hurt.
No,
Okay.
The dog was inside, but thankfully they got him out.
Okay. Whew. Okay, so pup is okay. And when you say it's only one room, is that downstairs, upstairs? What was in the room?
It was our downstairs master bedroom.
Oh, no.
We were actually supposed to sell the house 4 days prior. 4 days after the fire had happened.
Oh my gosh.
But that's not happening anymore.
Right.
So thankfully, like, a lot of my stuff was packed up and ready to go, but like my wife's entire wardrobe, everything, like our bed, our newborn son's bed, and everything is
oh my gosh
totally gone.
Where were you guys when this happened?
I was an hour away at work, and my wife was at work.
Oh my gosh! And your newborn son?
He was at grandparents.
Oh my gosh! Thank goodness.
But the rest of the house is okay.
Yes.
So,
my stepdad was driving by when it started to smoke really bad, so he caught it.
What happened? What caused the fire? Do they know?
It was one of the outlets by our bed. They're not exactly sure, but they think maybe a wire came loose and like touched the insulation or something, or a mouse chewed on it.
Oh my!
That is crazy. Well, I'm so glad everybody's okay.
A couple of things to be grateful for. Obviously,
Yeah, definitely.
you guys weren't there. Your wife was not there. Your baby son, the dog is okay. My goodness.
And your father-in-law's
And-
driving by.
Yeah, and I love that. And,
Yeah.
and again, grateful that it's just the room. And 4 months from now, you've got a rebuilt master. Now, I know all of the other things that come with that are awful, but all things being equal, this is you dodged a major crisis. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So how can we help today?
So we were planning on selling the house because my wife bought it before me and her were ever together, and it is a nightmare of a house. Foundation issues and everything
Electrical
else.
issues.
Yeah.
So we were really wanting to get out of it. We were buying a new house closer to my parents, and it's a lot nicer house. But
Did you
now
already
we're
make
probably
the
gonna
offer?
lose. Yeah, but we were doing a contingency buy. So
Got it. Okay,
we're
good.
probably going to lose that house now that we have to
Yeah.
wait another 4 months.
Yeah.
We have just started the baby steps. We've got about $85,000 in consumer debt.
Okay.
We don't have much savings, especially after the fire now. And then
Whoa.
What have you
What do you
been
have?
doing? Yeah.
we just started it, so we had the emergency fund, but now with the fire and stuff,
The $1,000
Yeah.
emergency fund, or
$1,000.
okay. So here's what I think. So where are you staying right now?
Right now we're at my parents.
Okay, you're at your parents. You've blown through most of your $1,000. What do you have left?
Right now we've got, I want to say, well, she actually made an extra car payment, so we're waiting for that to come back. But
Okay.
we'll have about 13 in our account, but we have bills and everything. And I do a ton of driving for work, so I have to leave at least $500 to $600 in there for gas.
Okay, so
Is insurance going to cover the total rebuild, or is there going to be more cash you're going to have to come
they're
up
going to cover it, but they are kind of dragging their feet. So
with? Right. Okay.
I think you're a little new to the baby steps, and so I kind of want to
Yeah.
reset and get everything on so that you and I are at least on the same footing kind of going forward. I hate that this happened to your house, and I hate that you guys had a plan and this just threw wrenches all up in that plan. However, in one way, like Ken said, you dodged several bullets here, and I'm going to add another bullet to the list that I believe that you dodged. Now, looking at your financial situation, fire aside, now is not the time for you guys to buy a house.
yes,
Like,
I agree.
you know?
I originally wanted to rent, but we live in a small town, and leaving the town is not an option for us because of my wife's work, and that's where our babysitting situation is located. And there is no places to rent that wouldn't be the same amount as what our mortgage was going to be.
Okay.
That has the space for 2 kids, us, and a dog that allows dogs. There was one place that was available, and we applied, and we got denied because of our credit. And then it went off the market like a week later.
So, okay. So to address that, unless by selling this house, let's pretend the fire didn't happen for a minute, unless you were going to have this huge amount of equity that was going to allow you to get into the next house and pay off, this debt or something like that, that would have been the only way it would have worked out. And if you had called us prior to that, I would have said, you just got to keep looking, look for the right rental because something will come on the market. That's what I would have said to you in that situation. But where you're at now is, okay, insurance is going to cover the rebuild of the master bedroom. You guys are in a place that, hopefully you're not spending a whole lot staying with family, but you are going to spend some, but you've still got, you're still working. So the income is coming in there. We've got to prioritize this debt. And that's got to be the number one thing, because technically, Zachary, when you go to buy a house, you want all of your debt paid off. Then you want to have saved up 3 to 6 months of expenses. That's not talking about a down payment. That's just you having money, when you move into this house. And then it's like, okay, I need a down payment. So you guys were quite far from being there. When you sold the house, what was it going to bring?
We were going to get about $15,000 in equity, and then my sister was also going to give a gift for a down payment as well to help us with that.
Okay, and when you got that gift from your sister, what percentage-wise was that going to be towards your next down payment?
We were going to be using an FHA loan, but it was going to be roughly 12 to 15.
Yeah. I think in many ways this was a blessing in disguise, because I think you guys are about to get in way too deep. You always want to make sure that you're putting at least 5% down on a house. You want to make sure it's no more than 25% of your take-home pay. These are the things you want to make sure of. And going forward, now is just not the time. And hopefully what I would do for you guys, if the house that you're in is a nightmare, obviously there's electrical things that need to be fixed. Obviously there's other things. Those are things that you might have to shell out some money to fix in the meantime, because the solution, and can we see it all the time? My car broke down. I'm just going to trade that in and trade up and get a new car with payments, because we don't have the $2,000 to fix it. So we get a $20,000 car, right? And the worst, I said this to Dave on Friday, the worst thing is, and I'm not saying that this is you, but you buy a $500,000 house, but the AC breaks and you don't have $5,000 to fix it, right?
That's right.
Happens all the time. So push pause on home buying. It's not the time.
Yeah.
Rebuild. Get your life back on track. Get the things fixed in the home that's going to make it a safe place for you to live. And
that's right. And hey, let's look at the positive on this. I think Jade's right. And I think I'm going to give you just a little bit of hopefully a little mindset hack here. You should get a new master bedroom.
Hey.
In the sense of, did you lose some stuff? Yes, that stinks. She lost her wardrobe. That's awful. All those things are just awful. But baby safe, dog safe, you're safe. And you know what? You had a really old master bedroom. Now you get a new master bedroom. And I like Jade's pressing pause right here and just kind of going, you know what? Life just threw us a curveball, but let's hit the curve.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in this baseball metaphor, but stay with me. Curveballs are meant to strike people out.
Come on,
But
Ken.
let me tell you something. Really good hitters know how to hit a curve. And if you hang a curve, these people put it out of the park. They smash it. And I think right now, through the coaching you just got from Coach Jade over here, I think you guys can take this curveball that life threw at you, and you absolutely hit a grand slam and come out of this thing way better off. So please listen to what she said. I think she's absolutely right. And I think you guys got a second chance. Not fun how you got it, but nonetheless, a second chance. So there you go. All right, don't move. She's Jade Warshaw. I'm Ken Coleman. We're here for you. This is The Ramsey Show.
I've been doing this show for over 30 years, and some of the saddest calls I've taken are from situations that are completely preventable.
Yeah, and what's so hard is I feel like one of those, especially the ones that I'm like, oh, it's terrible, are people that call in and their spouse has passed away suddenly and they don't have life insurance. We actually took a question of a lady and she had 3 kids, pregnant, and husband didn't have life insurance. And I'm like, I can't even imagine. Or even if it was opposite, right? If a mom passed away, there's a dad with kids and trying to figure out, how am I going to afford childcare? How do I outsource some stuff that maybe she was doing? And it just takes the grief and the sadness of something like a sudden death to a whole new level. Like when you have to think through, how am I going to pay my bills?
How am I going to eat next week?
Yeah, in the middle of all that grief. Like it's terrible. And so life insurance is the one thing, especially as a mom with 3 little kids, that I'm like so big on for people to get because it's inexpensive. Xander is the place that Winston and I actually get all of our life insurance. And we keep re-upping it because I'm like, I just want it there. Like there's something about that safety of knowing that you have money if something suddenly happens.
And it doesn't cost much because Xander shops among a gazillion different companies. It doesn't cost much. You just have to admit that someday you're not going to be here. You got to say it out loud, and you got to say, I'm going to say I love you to my family by taking care of them and taking the time to put this stuff in place. It costs us stinking pizza.
There really is. So that is one thing to do, to say I love you to your family.
So we've used Xander for all of our family's needs for insurance for many years, including, of course, term life insurance. To get a free quote, go to 800-356-4282. That's 800-356-4282, or go to Xander.com.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. Jade Warshaw joins me. The phone number is 888-825-5800. 5225. Chad is joining us now in Sioux City, Iowa. Chad, how can we help today?
Hi, Ken. Hi, Jade. Nice to talk to you. I'm calling just because I'd like to know if it would be wise to convert a 401k to a Roth.
Okay. That's a good question to ask. So are you moving jobs? Is that what's causing you to...
I'm 53. My wife's 52.
Okay.
Kind of got into this late in the game. We have about $560,000 total in investments and mutual funds between 457 at my work. She has 2 IRAs, and then I have a Roth. I was looking to convert her IRA into a Roth.
How much is it?
And that $170,000.
Okay. So here we work through a series of baby steps. I'm not sure how familiar you are with them. But technically, okay. So do you guys have any debt?
No debt.
No debt. Okay. What about the house?
Houses are paid.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to start that process, I would say yes. The only caveat to that is obviously if you're in baby step 2, we don't want you to do that because you're going to be on the hook for the taxes. And, that money can be used otherwise if you're on baby step 2. But for you guys, it seems like the right move. Are you working with a tax guide or anybody to help you in that area?
Yeah, I do have those people in place. I kind of wanted to get your guys' opinion before I went and actually and spoke to them about it.
Yeah, if I were in your shoes, I would start trying to make that move. I mean, I don't know if you listened a few days back, but we had a guy who he had amassed such a wealth, $8 million, but it was all in traditional funds. And so he was just getting nailed with, required minimum distributions. And so there is a part of this where you do need to begin making that transfer over to Roth. And I think that you need to work with a Ramsey Trusted Pro in order to do that. Somebody to help you with the tax side of it and somebody to help you with the investment side of it. So if you need that, we'll make sure that Christian picks up and gives you that. But if you're asking if now is the time, my answer is yes.
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree because of the way you walked it through. I mean, we've got the baby steps. And again, the timing on this is why our formula matters. It
matters big time. And that's why we always say match beats Roth beats traditional. Like we want you investing where there's free money. But at the end of the day, the Roth is... Yeah. I mean, the whole point is when you go into those retirement years, A, you don't want to be having to pay taxes on what you're pulling out of there. Right. And B, if you do amass the type of wealth that we hope that you do, if you're in traditional and you're having to take those required minimum distributions, you're paying taxes on that.
That's right.
And that has the ability, depending on how well you've done, to boost you up into some tax brackets.
So, textbook, yes on this one. And I love how you walked him through that. So our new audience, make sure you're paying attention there as to the why behind why it's a yes for Chad, because for some it's not. So really good review there.
Yeah.
Let's go to Tampa, Florida now, and Valerie is joining us there. Valerie, how can we help?
Hi. So I'm calling in. I'll be my age. My husband will be 24, and he's planning on going to law school. Both have our undergrad, and as he's going to law school, we're wanting to have kids. Like, we want to have like a big family, like from 4 to 6 kids, and we realize that we probably shouldn't be waiting till after he's done to start having kids. So then my question is like, he's going back to school. He obviously won't be making money because he'll be in school for 3 years. And then what would you recommend I do? Should I take out like loans for like housing and expenses and like food?
No.
Or should I work through law school and send my kids to daycare?
Well, first of all, we don't have any kids yet, right?
No, but like I'm definitely planning on having.
So hold on. All right, so I'm stepping in here real quick because I'm going to play old man because I'm 50 today, Valerie, so I'm feeling extra wise. Okay, I got a good night's sleep, and I want to start off with this, and then I want Jade to. Well, she has no problem taking issue with me if she disagrees, but I hear some things that 50-year-old Ken says. Slow your roll, youngster. Mm-hmm. All right, let me just go through a couple things. How old are you and your husband, and how long have you been married?
24, and we're 3.5 years.
3.5 years in. Okay. And so if we start trying to have kiddos today, there are no guarantees that we're going to have them in the timeline that we want. Would you agree with that statement, Valerie?
Yeah,
Yeah, correct. But also, he's going to be going to law school in fall of 2025.
Doesn't matter. This is my timeline. You follow me. Don't jump off the timeline, Valerie. I see what you're trying to do. I'm going somewhere with this. You have no idea that you guys are going to get pregnant when you want to get pregnant. You have no clue. Okay? So he's going to law school when? Starting in the fall? Couple weeks?
Fall of 2025.
Oh, fall of 2025. So he's got a year to work. Yes?
Yes.
Yes, he does. All right, and I have another suggestion here in a second. Here's my point. You are asking if you should take out loans for something that may not be absolutely in need. You could be working full time and not have kids, stacking cash, cutting your expenses, and so I think this is a bad idea to even consider it. Because here's what I know about law school. Where is he going, and what is it going to cost?
So he's going to. It's in St. Pete, and he's planning on getting a full ride scholarship.
Great. That was great. So why would we need money? Why would we need student loans if he's getting a full ride?
Did you say he's planning to get or he's getting?
Yeah, he's planning on getting, based on his LSAT score and
absolutely
and his all of his things he got.
Yep.
He should be getting a full ride.
Perfect.
For whatever reason. If he doesn't, we'll have to pay whatever. But anyway, my question is preventative, if we are in law school and I'm pregnant, what would you recommend? Would you recommend, mom going to work, putting kid in daycare?
No, I wasn't finished, Valerie. Valerie, I wasn't finished. Sorry, Jade.
No, go ahead, Ken.
I'm going to say this. You should not be trying to have kids. You're 24. Get through law school. It's 2 years max, right?
No, it's not. It's 3 years.
Who cares?
So 3
You're
years
27.
apiece.
Stop this nonsense. Stop it. Stop it. It is not smart in this situation for you to be planning to have kids right now. Just chill out until you get the cash to be able to have kids, or you have a budget where you can have kids. Don't walk yourself into a student loan because you think you got a mama timeline. Stop. It's not smart. Jade?
Yeah, well, I'm planning on having 4 to 6 kids.
I don't care. I planned to dunk a basketball when I was 16. It didn't work out.
Okay, here's the thing. Listen, Ken is.
I'm not going to wait till I'm old to start trying to
You don't have any control
You don't even
over it.
have to wait till you're old. Let me just throw it to you like this. Mom to future mom. There's a couple of things here. There's something. It's important to plan, okay? All I'm saying is you have the ability to make a great plan here and to create as much of a situation where you're setting yourself up for success as possible. To Ken's point, you do have plenty of time. That's number one. But then we have to be aware of the things that we cannot control. You might get... Listen, I hope you have 6 very wonderful pregnancies and they happen exactly when you want them to. But there is a part of this where, listen, that somebody threw the cards up in the air and you don't know where they're going to land. So I love that you're planning. If you're planning, then let's plan a way where you're not going into debt. That's all I ask.
Yes.
We're planning for a way that allows us to have the life that we want, where we're not going into debt. 2, the other huge variable in this, Valerie, that you're forgetting about is once these babies come out of you, you don't know what you're going to want. You might suddenly be like, practice law.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? I want to stay home with these babies, or I want to do part-time, or I want to homeschool them.
My husband's a lawyer.
And so that right there, knowing that variable is a huge, not that I had to give you any more reasons not to go into debt, but the worst thing ever would be if you went into debt to get a degree and then you hardly used it for the next 18 years.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to law school. Did we...
No, we know you're not. We know you're not.
I thought she was going to.
No, she's not.
Okay, well,
no,
still.
it's her husband. Here's the deal.
Still.
Valerie, I think you've decided that you think it's okay because he's going to be a hotshot lawyer and he's going to be able to pay the loan back. Sorry, you called the wrong show today. I don't think you need to do this at all. He needs to work like crazy and save up money. Good grief. All right, I got to go rest.
I got to rest,
We'll be back.
too.
This is The Ramsey Show.
Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
This is the Ramsey Show. Thrilled to have you with us. We're here to help you win in your life. We want you to win with your money. We want you to win in your work. We want you to win with your relationships. 888-825-5225 is the phone number. 888-825-5225. I'm Ken. Coleman Jade Warshaw is with me. We're going to take your questions about your money and your income today. That's kind of our focus. But, you know, you call. We'll talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. Boy, it's been a weekend, hasn't it, in the news?
Ooh.
Woo! I mean, I feel like the last 3 weeks, it's just been one headline after the next. Yikers.
I think it's going to be like,
Buckle
where were
up.
you?
I know.
Where were you when the towers fell? Where were you?
Right. In the 2024 election. Yeah.
Where were you when the announcement was made?
Really?
Okay, never mind.
No.
Dang, Ken,
I'll
what
tell
you into?
I can see James rolling his eyes here. I'm still a man of the people, but if you must know, I was in a spa treatment for my birthday. And true story, it has a show connection. James, it's true story. I got out of my lovely wife got me a spa treatment. I enjoy massage.
Okay.
And so I come out of my massage. I walk in the locker room.
Yeah.
And I open up and I grab my phone and I see texts from Rachel Cruz and Dr. John Deloney.
Wow.
Just stacked, like 6 messages. I was late to the party. They broke the news for me.
Wow.
And I was trying to play catch up. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go. In case you don't know, what we're talking about is President Biden. Is there anybody on the planet that doesn't know about
Somebody
that?
doesn't
That's what
know.
we're talking about. But anyway, the news got to me that way, and I was a little groggy. So it took me a second to process it. But Rachel Cruz, by the way, is always Rachel Breaking News Cruz is what I call her. She has got her finger on the pulse of what's going on in the world and has a great opinion about it all. All right, to the phones we go. 888-825-5225. David joins us in Chicago. David, how can we help?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing okay. I'm recently divorced, and I've been left with a 401k from my employer that has $160,000 in it currently. I'm also currently contributing 15% to it, and I get a 3% match. And I have a HISA with $100,000 in it. I have no debt, no loans, no car payments, nothing. I gross $100,000 a year. After taxes, I'm bringing in $4,300 a month, and I have $2,800 a month in expenses. So if everything's good with the kids, usually I'll probably be saving anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 a month. I'm 46 years old. The goal was to have a retirement of $2 million, and I also need to buy a house. I'm currently renting. So at my age, I don't know how feasible this is anymore, but I'm just curious, do I need to get a side hustle? Am I currently having an income problem now because of my age with what my goals are? I don't know what to do.
I don't hear a lot of issues. Okay, let me run it back and make sure I didn't miss anything. You got $160K in your 401k where you're doing baby step 4 and you're contributing that. You got a 3% match. That's great. You got $100,000 stashed away. Part of that is a fully funded emergency fund, and part of it is earmarked, I guess, for whatever you want. You're making $100,000 a year. When you're taking home, what you're actually taking home is $4,300 a month, and you want to buy a house. Where's the problem?
He wants to know if he can get to $2 million. That you got a $2 million.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to the $2 million retirement goal based on my age right now. The house,
How old are you?
I can take. I'm 46.
Okay, 46. All right.
Yeah, this is your calculator. She loves her investment calculator. So while she's pulling this up, David, do you anticipate getting a raise, making more money, or in your current situation, do you feel like you can, through reasonable activities, right, extra work, maybe some, again, getting promoted, pivoting maybe, do you feel like you could contribute way more than you are now?
That's a great question because I'm currently I'm in finance. I am new to finance. I went back and got a master's degree and got a finance degree. So where I'm at right now, I just received a promotion that got me to $100,000.
Okay.
So I don't see anything on the horizon in the next year or two.
Uh-huh.
But with the finance degree, I was thinking about going to get my certified management accountant certificate to try to increase the salary more. So that would be about 9 months to study and take the exams.
Okay.
Or maybe do bookkeeping on the side as a side hustle or something like that.
There we go.
I could do work from home, and that would be the next step. Either that, or I thought about, I mean, really anything, even if I had to drive an Uber or something.
All right, your head's in the right place. So let me bring Jade in here because she's got her calculator, because this was your question. What do I have to do to get to $2 million in retirement? She's got her calculator out. Take it away, Jade.
Okay, so listen, you're 46 years old. Let's say you work and you want to retire let's say you want the $2 million at least by 67, 65, right? You've got 160 in there now. If you're investing 15%, that's around $1,250 a month with your income, and average rate of return 8 to 10%. And I only say 8 because of the haters. It's really 10 and up. Let's be honest about that. If you're in good growth stock mutual funds, like even if you're in the S&P 500, like you're going to get 10%. Okay, annualized, by the way, for the haters. All right, when I put that in, you're going to be over 2 million. My results say 2,359,579.
And that would happen even with my employer's 401k, because I'm not sure.
And I didn't even include the free money match part. That's gravy. The 3%, I didn't include that. Like, I'm saying this is
just
you
putting
and
your
your money, your contribution.
How's that feel?
Yeah, they currently have me in a I'm in like one of those Vanguard Target Fund 2050 or something like that.
Okay, I'd probably change that.
Yeah, but she's got you at 2.3, David. So you're not too late.
You're not. You're not too late at all. Not by a long shot.
And that's at 67. Run those numbers to 75. Maybe, let's see.
I was planning on working past the age of 70 because I have a 7-year-old daughter.
Let's say it's 72. That's when you have the least amount of, let's say, Social Security. So let's say 72. A lot of people like to go till there because that's when they get the max. $3,979,034.
Oh my God, that's good. So what I need to do then is probably remove it out of a Vanguard fund and move it into like more of a mutual fund.
Yeah, we talk about spreading your investments over 4 types: growth and income, aggressive growth, and international. And they're not target date funds. So I want to get you hooked up with a SmartVestor Pro before you get off of here to help you select those funds, and not just select them, but really you understanding what's going on with them. Because if I look at my 401k, your annualized rate of return should be around 10% all the time. Okay. That's not necessarily 1 year from the next year, but when you take this whole track of growth, this whole arc of the time that you're in the stock market, if you look and say, okay, all of that time combined, what was my average annualized rate of return? You should be above 10%. So that's what we're looking for, and that's how we're plugging these numbers in. But I mean, even if I were just to play a little bit and just for kicks put it at 8%, let's see what it puts you at. You're still at 2.5 million. So, you can play with those interest rates and see where it lands you. But for anybody listening, if you're not really looking at an investment calculator, you need to be. And you need to be plugging these numbers in. We have a really great one at RamseySolutions.com. They can throw it in the show notes. But instead of kind of feeling that anxiety of the unknown, Ken, plugging these numbers in and seeing for yourself, seeing what it would take, playing with the interest rates, playing with the monthly contribution that you're putting in. All of that stuff gives you so much peace because we're talking about real numbers, not just shadows.
It's a great motivator. It really is. And hey, David, you got to be just fired up, my friend. You called in thinking you were behind the 8 ball. And my friend, you are on your way to 4 million plus, says Jade.
Yeah.
Nice job. This is The Ramsey Show.
Your home is probably the biggest purchase you'll ever make. And with the real estate market like it is now, you'll need a mortgage company you can trust. That's Churchill Mortgage. You guys, buying a home is not a button push. It's a process. It takes building a relationship with an expert who will dig into the details and give you peace of mind without busting your budget. Churchill is one of the highest rated lenders in the country. And they're Ramsey trusted because they do what's right for you. Go to ChurchillMortgage.com to get started.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show, where we help you win with your money, win with your work, win in your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman. Jade Warshaw joins me. The phone number is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Tallahassee, Florida is where we go next. Brandon, how can we help?
Hi there. Thank you guys for doing what you guys do.
Thank you.
My question today is, so let me just give you a little background. Basically, got married about 2 months ago, and me and my wife had a plan for what we were going to do. I graduate in December with my bachelor's, and then I was going to go on to either PT school or PA school. And then she's pregnant now, so we're going to have a kid soon, so I'm excited for that. But that does kind of throw a wrench in that. Even before then, I was never really that set on going to PT school or PA school, just kind of what we were going to do. And now that she's pregnant, that kind of throws that out the window. So my question is, how do you figure out what you should do? How do you find like a successful career? Yeah. I'm only 21 and my wife is only 21. That's just kind of...
Love it. Well, I wish they taught you this in school, but this is what I teach. And I think there's a 3-part, if you want to call it, equation or formula, and let's just think of it as 3 wires that everybody has. The first wire is talent. It's just what you do well. You know, Brandon, when you just started moving and shaking in the world, even as an elementary school kid, your teachers noticed that you were talented in certain areas. Certain things came easy to you. Your parents noticed it. Maybe there was a difference between you and your siblings on things. But everybody comes in this world hardwired with talent. So these things come easy to us. We do them well. That's the first wire. The second wire is passion. We enjoy this task or this role. You know, some people, just to give you an example, they love organizing something, right? Some people love fixing stuff. And some people love talking. You know, I mean, we could just go through the entire world of work, and there's just some work that everybody kind of has their own list of, this is stuff that I really enjoy doing. The third wire is all about motivation. What gets you fired up? What motivates you? And this is results oriented. So I call this wire mission. In other words, what do I want to accomplish? What results do I want to put in the world? Okay, so talent is what I do best. Passion is what I love to do most. And mission is the results that I care deeply about. Does that make sense, those 3 things?
Yeah.
So figuring out what you want to do, you got to figure out those things. And then you figure out, okay, once I know what I'm good at, what I enjoy doing, and what results motivate me, I begin to see where in the world of work do I fit. And so I'm going to give you a kind of clue because I think you have a sense. There's 4 types of work. If I took every job, every career path in the world, and I put them into 4 categories, one would be people work, another would be ideas, the other would be process, and then objects. So idea work, right? So Jade and I are in that, we're kind of in people and ideas. So our work falls in people and ideas. We work with people. We're coming up with ideas to help people, right? So we're not inventing something, but it relates to an object. But an inventor might be in the ideas and objects space, right? They invent a tool or they invent a machine that does something. And so you could see object work is physical, working with your hands, either creating something or fixing something. So you've got people, ideas, processes, by the way, engineering type work, a lot of technical work, organization, things like that. So when you think of those 4 areas of work, people, ideas, processes, and objects, where do you think your talent falls?
I think so. I've worked all the way through college and even in high school as a tennis coach.
So that's people.
And yeah, that's people. And then that's also, I think that might also fall under the ideas category.
Actually, I'd throw it into process because coaches teach, right? They teach you how to hit the serve. How many different elements are in a serve, would you say?
No, thousands, but you can break it down to 4.
Okay, great. So that's a process. So if you're going to teach me and Jade how to serve a tennis ball, that is a process. So that's people and process. So that's what you're talented in. And usually we're going to see some consistency that you enjoy people and process work. True or false?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. All right. And so if we look at what motivates you in doing that work, people and process, what is the result that you most want to create as a coach, in your words?
I think for me, it's always been working with, like, specifically a lot of young men to build discipline in their lives, because I know most of them aren't going to go play pro or to go play college even, but to
That's right.
kind of, disciple them, if you will, in that area.
I agree. So in the Get Clear assessment, which I'm going to give you, by the way, and the book, Find the Work You're Wired to Do. So I'm going to give you this as our gift so you can work through this. But you're going to see that one of the 6 missional results in the assessment is the result of influence, Jade. And I think that anybody who's in people and process work, you're going to see a big theme of you're driven by influence. In fact, the result that you really get motivated for is influencing people. And it's not about hitting the serve. It's not isolated to hitting the serve. It's about what can I teach them in tennis so that they learn something they use in life. Does this sound like it's resonating?
Yeah.
All right, so now let's pull back for just a minute. I don't think you're limited to coaching in sports. I want to bring Jade in here because she's a D1 athlete, and she's got a lot to say on people that are high achievers. But my take is to pull back before you get your results, just on this call, is to think about how could you be a coach in the world of work that's not necessarily coaching sports? And so I think, Jade, management, leadership.
Yes.
I mean, he's not limited to coaching high school tennis or college tennis is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you framed it up. I felt like I just sat through a master class. The way you framed it up, anything with people and processes where you have that influence.
Yeah.
That could be in a classroom, that could be in a boardroom, that could be on a court.
Yeah.
That could be in a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
So the doors, I feel like, just flew wide open of opportunity there.
Let's put you on the spot, Brandon. So you're 21. So what would you try tomorrow? Try, not commit to for the next 10, 15, 20 years. What would you try tomorrow if there was zero pressure to succeed? You knew you were going to be good at it and we could pay you what you needed. What would you try?
I guess I've always wanted to open and run sports facilities, just facilities in general, but obviously sports is the realm I'm in.
All right, so I'm going to give you
that, even owning it.
Great. So let me give you 2 strategies. How much are you making right now, and in what role are you? What kind of work are you doing, and how much are you making?
I work part-time right now because I'm still in college. I make about $30,000 as a part-time tennis coach.
Oh, wow. Good for you. And when will you graduate, and with what major?
We'll graduate in December, so that the fall semester I'll finish that with an exercise physiology degree.
Okay, great. So here's why I think you were attracted to the PA or the PT. I think you've seen a lot of that given your involvement with athletics and coaching, and I think it's helping people, and I think you have a heart to help people. But I think the minute that the baby came in, you were like, this is not something I really wanted to do. I thought it was a good professional track. Now it's going to cost me money. And it's forced you to go, what is it that I want to do? So is that true? I want to make sure I'm not putting words in your mouth. So here's what I would do if I were you. I think you have 2 tracks to run, and you could do this simultaneously. I don't think you go get a loan, obviously. We don't believe in borrowed money, and just try to start a facility. So I would start with who in your area where you live operates these type of facilities. And I wonder if you don't reach out to them through some kind of connection. It could be 1st degree, 2nd, 3rd, 4th degree. Take them to lunch, take them to coffee. Say, I just want to pick your brain on how you got where you are and what you're doing. I would learn enough to go, what are your margins? How difficult is this to be successful? I mean, just go to school on somebody around this idea that you had. And then the second track could be you might get a job with somebody who needs a sharp young guy coming out of college who's coached, who loves sports. And maybe you go to work for somebody like that and learn the ropes before you ever confirm that you actually want to own your own place. This way we take all the risk out and you learn and you get a good idea of what you're thinking. That's what I'm going to advise you right now. And I would say the same strategy if you get another idea later today. But I want you to hang on the line. Christian, let's get him the new book, Find the Work You're Wired to Do. Comes with the Get Clear assessment. You're going to get your results, and I think it's going to confirm a lot of what we've discussed. But when you get the clarity on who you are, then, Jade, that's when you're able to answer that intimidating question of what do I want to do and where can I do it? We got to start with the who, and that clarity gives us confidence to move forward. Thanks for the call, Brandon. We'll be right back. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, it's Rachel Cruz here to tell you about a faith-based alternative to health insurance that can make healthcare more affordable. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM allows members to share each other's healthcare costs, and it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, choose the healthcare provider you want. Step 2, submit your eligible bills. And Step 3, get reimbursed. CHM members take care of your eligible medical bills. With no networks and the freedom to choose your healthcare provider, CHM is the best option for Christians who want to take care of their families and help other believers. Find out more at chministries.org/budget.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. Jade Warshaw is alongside. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Okay, Jade, I want to get you to weigh in on something that is honestly a little bit shocking to me. I don't know why I'm shocked by it. I just think it's such a bad idea. I'll let you kind of weigh in on this, but we're going to get a lot of these calls.
I think so.
We're going to get out in front of this.
Yeah.
So in my hands here,
what you got?
I've got a headline. New 401k rule makes it easier to tap savings, 401k savings, for emergencies. Jade, say it isn't so.
I'm like Michael Scott when he's just like, no, that's the way I feel. This is terrible.
This new law will make it easier for Americans to use their 401k and other retirement funds as an emergency ATM.
Oh, Americans can now withdraw up to $1,000 from their 401k without any penalties if the money is needed to cover a financial emergency. Now, before you could take hardship withdrawals, but this kind of takes it a step further. Acceptable reasons could be medical care, funeral expense, auto repairs. But here's the difference. Or any other necessary emergency personal expense.
Who determines that?
You don't have to show proof of it. So with the hardship withdrawal, you kind of had to do the paperwork, blah, blah, blah. With this, you don't really, it's just up for grabs. You have access to this. I think you have it every year. I think it's every year that you have this available to you. But obviously, if you only have $1,500, in your 401k or something, you can't go below $1,000 in your 401k. That's so right. You would only be able to get $500. But this is what it says. Savers are allowed to make one $1,000 distribution per year.
For the said emergency? Is that what we're talking about? Okay.
Yeah, but here's the kicker. The funds must be repaid within 3 years. Savers will still need to pay income tax on that withdrawal if they don't pay it back, and they will not be able to make an additional hardship withdrawal.
Yeah. Oh, this is awful.
So, I mean, I get it. Like, I get why they're doing this. It's that classic... I'm not trying to be ugly, but it's that classic American way, right problem, wrong solution, right? It's like, yes, this change comes as a growing number of Americans tap their 401ks because they're having a hard time dealing with inflation and the fact that prices have gone absolutely bonkers. And so, yeah, right problem, Americans are struggling. Wrong solution. Right? It's like, oh, okay, we'll get a credit card. Okay, we'll borrow from your 401k. It's like the worst possible advice that you could give somebody. But luckily here at Ramsey Solutions, we're about solutions. So we can give you some better solutions. But this really draws the picture around for me, Ken, why we teach what we teach. Okay, so obviously we teach a set of baby steps, 7 of them, but the first 4 are the ones that I really want to call up right now to discuss, because these are the ones that people struggle with, right? We always say, okay, baby step 1, you save $1,000. And so many people can want to just jump on our back. $1,000, that's not enough. And I'm like, right. Clearly it is. Yeah. Because that's what people need. And we know the statistics. Yeah. The stat is constantly changing, but it's somewhere around the point that 36% of Americans have $0 saved, and 56% of Americans could not cover $1,000 emergency in cash. Like they'd have to go to a credit card. So having $1,000 saved in your money, your cash, that's baby step 1. Right. Then everybody knows baby step 2, yeah, you're paying off the debt. But what really gets people is we say don't start investing until baby step 4, after you've paid off your debt, after you've done baby step 3, save 3 to 6 months of expenses. And that really gets people right here in the heart.
That's right.
Why would you say that? Don't you understand compound interest? Yes, I do. But this is really a behavioral and a risk problem that we're solving for.
That's exactly right. And to your point, you make a great point. The government is limiting you to $1,000 distribution from your own 401k, but you're paying taxes on that.
Yeah.
And interest.
And that's you robbing yourself.
So you're not even getting the $1,000.
No.
If we use the Ramsey method, you're saving the $1,000. It's your money and it is there in its totality.
Yes.
When you need it.
Yes.
And so I think you make a really great point. So the federal government and Ramsey Solutions are on the same page about the number.
Yeah, 100%.
Except
we're on
you're
the same
not getting
page.
$1,000 of value when you borrow from yourself.
You're not.
Oh my gosh.
And few people do the math on the opportunity cost there, but if you're constantly, and I'm not saying like this is something you do every month because you can't, but if you're a person who creates the habit of saying, you know what, if something goes wrong, I can just hop into my 401k and pull out, I can do a 401k loan, I can take this $1,000 distribution. That is a horrible habit to create. It's kind of like, if you have cookies on the top shelf, all it takes is one time to go in that jar. And once you get a taste, good luck to you. Good luck because you've realized how to get to the cookies. It's really not that hard. Now you also know how they taste. It could solve the problem for you. Yep. You've created this cycle. But Ken, let's talk about why we say baby steps 1, then 2, then 3, then 4.
Okay.
First off, you have to think about risk, right? As long as you have debt in your life, there's risk. Something goes wrong, you don't make a payment, you lose your job, everything is up on the table. And if you have debt and you don't have an emergency fund, where's the first place you're going?
More debt.
Yeah,
we
either
see this
more
with
debt.
Credit cards all the time. People use credit cards to make it through.
Or if you say, you know what, I'm going to try to do it all at once. I'm going to put a little bit of money to pay off my debt. I'm going to put a little bit of money to go to my 401k because after all, I get a match. I don't want to miss that. If something happens, if there's an emergency, where's the first place you're going? Right to the 401k.
Yeah.
So we're creating this kind of 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, as opposed to just saying, okay, I'm going to walk in a straight line and I'm going to keep going forward. Even if in the moment it feels like I'm going a little bit slower, you're not. You're making more headway. Yep. And so there's thoughts behind this, guys. Not to mention, when you just wait till baby step 4, you can invest 15% because all of your income is open to you. It's not just getting the 3% match, right? All of your money is there and you're going to be able to make up any time that you may have lost in air quotes, doing baby step 2. So this is a proven plan. And so your options really are go with the folks on the radio who are telling you about the proven plan, or don't do the proven plan and I don't know what, the IRS, let them give us guidance.
Oh, I promise you. Because it's in this article. Here's what's interesting. Here's what we know historically about this. In the past, people who are making these types of withdrawals from your 401k owed the income tax on the money, couldn't even pay it. And then you could also be hit with a 10% early withdrawal fee. And they're under the age of 59 and a half. So this is another trap that looks like it's there as a safety line, right? Like I'm going to throw out the, what do you call the things when you're in the
safety
pool?
net, buoy.
Thank you. Somebody throw that out here and we're going to give you a line to pull you back in. And in this case, you actually are creating a bigger emergency for yourself in the midst of an emergency. That's the whole point. And so, let's talk about this. We only have just a couple minutes left because I think, Jade, it's still very hard for some people. And this is out of respect and dignity that I say this, but based on the income that they make and the current cost of everything in this world, inflation is still high.
Yes.
Amassing, and I use that word on purpose, $1,000 feels like it is amassing $1,000. I want to give it to you here.
It feels impossible for some people.
Let's talk to people right now who go, baby step 1, get $1,000 a bank. Jade, I am broke. I'm barely making it. What would you say to them to go, okay, here's hustling, gritty. I know it's hard work.
Yeah.
But practically speaking, some of the best ways to get $1,000 in the bank in America today?
I think the quickest way you're going to do that is to start selling stuff. If you're talking about, I need money today, that's what Facebook
Give me an example.
Marketplace.
We're selling clothes.
I'm selling clothes. I'm selling anything that someone will buy.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's instead of giving stuff to the Goodwill, see if you can sell it on these OfferUp sites and Mercari sites and all these sites. I'm picking up as much extra work as I can. I don't care. Mm-hmm. Anybody can work a phone service, customer service job. Yeah. Do it at night. They're looking for night shifts. There's these
babysitting, dog sitting,
dogs, anything. It's temporary. Most people, when they really put their foot on the gas, they can get that $1,000 saved in 30 days. If it takes you 45 days, I'm fine with that as long as you're going hard in the paint.
Yeah. I love
That's what I'm talking about.
Basketball reference right there for you non-sports fans. She's talking about throwing elbows, leaning the shoulder into this debt. Mm-hmm. We're going to do what it takes to get the money. Don't move. We'll be right back. This is The Ramsey Show.
You've been gazelle intense, you've eaten more beans and rice than you knew existed, and now you're ready to make your biggest investment better. Blinds.com is a great way to dress up a room or your entire home. Whether you're comfortable with do-it-yourself projects or you don't even know what a Phillips head screwdriver is, well, trust Blinds.com to take care of you like Ramsey would. You can do the measuring and installation yourself, or you can let Blinds.com's professionals handle everything for you. Blinds.com offers a completely hassle-free experience. Count on them to deliver stylish window treatments from premium brands without the premium markup. You'll never have to deal with pushy salespeople in your home just to get a quote. But you can count on free shipping, free samples, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee so that you can rest easy. That's why we've recommended Blinds.com for over 10 years. Shop Blinds.com right now and get up to 45% off. That's Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. Jade Warshaw is alongside. The phone number is 888-825-5225. 888-825-5225. Okay, so this is fun. During the break, we got an update from James, the fearless leader, our producer, and apparently you and Dave had a fun call a couple days ago on the show, and not only was it fun, I guess we have an even more fun update. So tell us what's going on.
Yeah, well, first off, when y'all call in, I remember. So Jawan called in. He was from Springfield, Missouri, I believe, and
Springfield, Illinois.
Okay, they're close. They're close. Listen, I'm going off memory here. Yeah. I'm going off memory.
That's
okay.
Great. It doesn't matter.
So Jawan calls in. He was living with his girlfriend. I believe she was pregnant, but they already had 2 kids. It was like one of those situations where like, Jawan, you got to get married. Dude, marry this girl. Show her that you care. Put a ring on it. And don't you know, this guy emailed in. He was like, hey, you want to know what? I'm getting married. What did he say, James?
He said, hey, the advice worked. I'm getting married tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Now, did he agree with the advice right away, or was he a little standoffish?
He did. Matter of fact, I believe Dave was like, he's crab walking. Like, he's acting like he's saying one thing, but he's doing another. And so both of us were like, man, is he going to do it? I don't know if he's going to do it or not.
He decided.
He made a decision.
Good for him.
He followed the advice.
Way to go. So there you go. Fun update.
He's not gonna regret it. But by the way, if you've ever called into the show and you did the advice, let us know. Let us know.
We do love the where are they now?
Where are they now?
Right? That's always kind of fun.
Yeah. Good.
Real quick, some of you are going, all right, election year, what's the Fed going to do? And you're thinking about buying or selling a house.
Uh-huh.
And we don't think you need to be on the sidelines. We think You need to be doing what you need to do, but doing it with the right person. That's why I want to tell you very quickly about our Ramsey Trusted program to help you get the right pro, the right agent that you can trust to keep you on track with what we teach and get the best offer on your house or find the right house. So these are the top agents in your area who we trust, and then you get to review them, interview them, and decide if you want to work with them. Ramsey Trusted Agents are where you need to be going if you're thinking about buying or selling a house. Ramsey Trusted Real Estate Agent is sitting there waiting for you to find them for free. All at RamseySolutions.com/agent. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com/agent. All right, Stephanie is up next in Vancouver, and she's on line 4. There she is. Stephanie, how can we help?
Hi, guys. So back to your earlier thing. I follow baby step 1. $1,000 is definitely enough to get you going.
All right. Hey, real quick, tell people, give us the 20 seconds how you amassed your $1,000 so they can learn from you.
Basically, we cut things in our budget as hard as we could.
Yeah.
Things
we
like
did
what?
Sell some stuff. Things like unnecessary subscriptions. We started doing a budget.
That's a good point, right there.
And you found some money.
Doing one.
Yeah.
My husband and I hadn't put our money together, so we were kind of wasting the money in a way, because it wasn't like we were aiming at the same target. It was like trying to shoot a cannon at 2 things at once.
Yeah.
It was just not working.
Good for
Let
you.
Stephanie teach the lesson.
I love
Very
it.
good. Very good.
Yeah. No, that was pretty good. And like I said, it's hit everything. We've had like little minor ones come up that we've used to reach for a credit card for, and now we use our own money.
I love that.
Good
Love
for
it.
you. And by the way, Stephanie, mentally, if you have to dip into that, it's also a lot easier knowing I did it once before. I can fill it back up, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and honestly, I was on maternity when we first started, and I'd gotten to $750, and then I didn't get a payment from a government, and I had to use it. And I was just like, wow, look, that's actual money and not debt.
That's right. Good for
Actual
you.
money.
So it's great.
Well, thank you for the testimony on that. So, Stephanie, how can we help you today? What's going on?
Okay, so we're going up on, we started at 110,000 and we are at like 55 now, 55, 56. We started with about 12 debts and now we're down to about 5. We're working right now on a line of credit. When that one's gone, it's with the bank and it has a much lower interest rate than some of our other debts. So what we were thinking is instead of just paying the minimum payment on the debts, just taking the line of credit and wiping one out so that we're paying a lower payment to have more margin. Now, I mean, I know that that's transferring debt, but it also is increasing our margin, and it's not opening a new line of credit. My husband and I have had some debate on this, including if we were to do that, should we do the car first because it has a bigger payment or anything like that? And I looked on the Ramsey information, and I didn't find anything specifically with open lines of credit.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in to make sure I understand you before you go further, because I don't want to lose where you're at. So you're saying you've got 5 debts left, and one of them is a line of credit that's open. And are you wanting to transfer the other 4 onto that line of credit? Is that what you're saying?
That line of credit is $10,000. We have $2,900 left on it. All of our other debts are around $12,000 or $13,000. So what we're hoping to do is kind of use it as a vehicle to get the payment much lower to be able to smack them out faster.
So transferring your current debt by basically putting it into the line of credit like she's asking.
And we know it's still debt, but what we're hoping is that we can get more margin and more traction with it.
You're doing that because of the percentage rate or because you think it'll free up the other payments? And it will. It would.
Both because the MasterCard, we have 2 MasterCards and a Visa. The 2 MasterCards are both at about 12.5 and the Visa is about 13.3. The Visa is negligible because it's the same interest rate pretty much as the line of credit.
I hear how you're thinking. You're doing a lot of math. And let me validate this because I understand what you're doing right now on a heart level. Like when you've been working the baby steps, you do get to this point where you're like, okay, what can I do to work some magic here? And you start moving eggs around and you're like, I could do this, I could do that. And you start you start finding ways that you think will work better, but really they're kind of veering you off course. And here's what I would say. Here's why I wouldn't do this. there's part of what you're saying that makes sense, and I'll validate that. Yeah, like if you have a high interest rate, why wouldn't I move it to somewhere where there's a lowest interest rate? If I can make all this form into one payment that's going to be lower than these other payments over here and free up some more money, why wouldn't I do that? I hear what you're saying. However, the negative side of this, and it's a big negative, one of the beautiful things about the debt snowball is you have all of these debts and you can list them smallest to largest and you can check them off your list. And something, that dopamine, when you check one off the list, is enough to keep you going to the next one. I would much rather have 5 debts of $10,000 each than 1 debt of $55,000. I would much rather have 3 debts that's 5, 15, and 20 than 1 debt that's 45. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't want you to group these together because then you're not going to get the satisfaction of paying them off one by one, because that is a grand motivator in this whole thing.
Well, and the line of credit, it does max out at 10. So, I mean, we would still be paying off, like, the remainder of the balance on each line, on each thing, but it would just be, like, quite a bit less.
Yes, but at that point, the difference is so negligible. Like, at that point, money-wise, it's so negligible. You're grown. You can do what you're going to do what you want to do. But if you're asking my advice, I truly think that you should keep these as are, because if you run out the interest, by the way, anybody, if you run out the interest on the debt snowball, it's going to be negligible. What matters is finishing it. That's what truly matters. So,
and my husband and I both thought that too. We were like, well, it will make it like a little bit faster, but the difference is only going to be, a couple $100 either way.
Yeah. And then you're dealing with a $10,000 chunk again, whereas right now it's at $2,900, right?
Yeah.
So, and that way mentally you're kind of restarting, like, okay, I thought this thing was almost gone. Now I've kind of like refilled it and I've got another big chunk of debt to pay off. And I mean, I don't even want to know what the difference in interest rate is because we've seen the math on that. So I wouldn't do it.
Gross.
Say again?
Yeah, she says gross. Is that what she is? Gross?
Yeah, it's gross. The interest rate for the line of credit is like 11 and the interest rate for the credit card is like 27.
Yeah, I mean, I know these credit card rates, but I will tell you that's going to light the fuel to get it done. And I mean, that's what I would do. All I can tell you is what I would do, and I stand by that.
Yeah, well, and so we have been consistent on that. I mean, we get this call a lot. It's not the first time we've heard that. And again, we teach discipline, and momentum is what is at the core of what we are teaching. It's discipline for momentum. So do what you're going to do. People do. But you called us, and Jade laid it out by the book. So really good stuff there, Jade. All right. Wow, another hour in the books. Thank you for listening. This is The Ramsey Show.
Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
This is The Ramsey Show, where we help you win with your money, win at work, and win in your relationships. 888-825-5225. 888-825-5225 is the phone number to jump in. We're here to help you. We've got your questions. Jade Warshaw joins me. I'm Ken Coleman, and we're so excited that you are with us today. Let's go. The phones are lighting up. Joshua starts us off this hour in Idaho Falls, Idaho. Joshua, how can we help?
Hey there. How are you doing?
Good. How are you today?
Good. Hey, I have a 2-part question. First question is, what is a reverse mortgage? And the second question is, how do I convince my mother not to do it? I haven't heard of it. I follow your guys' baby step, so I just wanted to get some more information on that.
So your mother-in-law is wanting to do a reverse mortgage.
That's right.
Why?
Well, from what I can gather, she doesn't have a lot in savings or anything like that. She doesn't have a lot of retirement from what I can tell.
Okay.
So I think this is her way of maybe skipping that step or something. I'm not sure.
Okay, so not a lot of... How old is she?
About 60.
Oh, gosh. I'm going to say no I will always say no to a reverse mortgage. So basically what she's doing is letting the bank take over, and they own it. They're making the payments. She's still, on the hook for taxes and insurance and everything like that. But once the money runs out, that's that. And she's so young. Like, there's a lot of time for this to play out. And a lot of times, if that person were to pass away, that goes to the heirs, and they're left with a home that's either upside down or a home that's, these end in foreclosure. The foreclosure rate on these is just astronomical. So I would not suggest that. I would suggest something that's going to kind of help her get a hold of her situation. So I don't, tell me more about your relationship with her. Are you the son that can kind of pop in and say, okay, let's look at your money. Let me help you with this. Would she let you help?
Probably not. No.
Because did you say this is your mother-in-law?
No, this is my mother. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, mother. Okay, yeah.
Okay, all right. That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. So you don't feel like you can do that?
No.
Yeah. Well, listen, here's the deal. With that being said, I don't know what you do other than try to explain it to her, not try to talk her out of it as much as go, do you realize this is essentially you're borrowing money on the equity you have in your home? Would you like to get to a later date, Mom, and have no equity in your home? Because that's what this is. Mm-hmm. And I can't believe she would go for that. Would she?
It's, one of those deals where she's talking to her finance friend or something like that, and they gave her this idea, and now it sounds real good.
You got any siblings that have a better relationship with her?
Not really.
At the very least, you could play out the number. Some people respond well to math. Some people just fall asleep, right? Yeah. At the very least, maybe you run the numbers. I don't know. How much equity is she?
Yeah.
How much equity does she have? Because you don't have access to 100% of it, only a portion of it. So
right.
If you had to guess, what do you think?
I would guess maybe she has $200 on a $300,000 home.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is horrible.
Yeah.
Because the people, let me put it like this, because there's no real smart way to do this, but the people who think they're smart doing this think, okay, I've got a lot of equity. I'm 86 years old. Not to sound morbid, but I'll probably pass away before I run through all of this equity. That's what they're thinking. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, if I don't have anything left to leave, I'm fine with that. This is what I'm going to eat off of, right? But in this case, I'm like, fees alone are going to eat up so much of that. And I can't remember off the top of my head. You'll have to check it for yourself. What percentage of that is actually going to be available to her? I think it's only 60. I can't remember, but check to see what percentage of equity is actually available. But that's what she's got to realize. This is not even a solution. It's not even a Band-Aid. This is like when you just kind of wipe your knee on your shirt, right? To stop the bleeding for a quick second. She's going to end up without a home. This is going to end in foreclosure. So we've got the solution here. I think I've painted, didn't have to tell you how bad of an idea this is, but what we've got to get her to see is, okay, how do we solve this problem? What's Social Security? What's she living off of? What does she need? And is she on a budget? So those are the kind of detective work that you're going to have to do. And I think that it's you sitting down with her and saying, listen, Mom, this is your life, but I'm your son. And the truth is, if you don't let me help you now, you're going to assume I'm going to help you later when it's too late.
Right.
So in that way, you do have a stake. You're a stakeholder in this. And she might not see it now, but that's kind of the picture you have to paint. Like, listen, I want to help you now when it's not so much of a burden to me, as opposed to you cutting me out, because when you're 80, then I'm going to have no choice. And then I'm going to be a little bit pissed because I tried to help you when you were 60.
Mm-hmm. How old is she?
60.
Okay, you can't even qualify until 62.
Yeah, so, she's thinking about it now, though. So that's
I know, but here's the other thing. I checked. I wanted to do a little research while Jade was talking. Jade's right. The range of money you get is between 40 to 60% of the equity. So she's got $200,000 in equity.
That's hardly enough.
The range is 40 to 60. And I do think that instead of the emotional conversation with her, because it's very hard to tell your adult mom, and there's obviously some stuff going on there, you don't feel comfortable. It's almost laughable, the idea of sitting down and talking to her is the feeling I'm getting from you by the actual laugh. So I wonder if you don't just show her the numbers and just say there's a better way, Mom, and help her ideate on how she comes up with it. What is the actual amount of money she feels she needs to get her hands on?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You got to dig, man. This is your mom. You at least got to ask.
You just heard her say it, and you're like, ooh, warning sign.
Like, I wouldn't go
good.
in there coaching her up, but I would ask some questions and not make her feel like she's on the defensive, but ask some questions and go, hey, Mom, I did some research on that. That's not a really good deal for you because you're really young. And start running numbers. See, numbers aren't emotional. So life expectancy, do your homework on what that is. She's 60. The actual amount, let's run the numbers on the 40 to 60% that Jade was talking about of the $200,000 is what she's going to be only eligible for. By the way, she's on the younger side of this. She will just have turned 62. The people that get 60% that she was right. Those are older people. Mm-hmm. So she's not going to get 60. She's probably going to be in the, let's assume range. 40 to 45%.
That's right.
So by running numbers with her, it's kind of like, hey, I'm not telling you what to do, Mom. Like, show her some respect, some dignity, not the know-it-all hotshot son. I ran the numbers, Mom. And so of the 200,000, 40% is this. So 10% is 20. So you're looking at what, 40,000? She can only get, the 40 is more than that. So you start running those numbers and you show her, okay, you're going to have this much cash.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the most you can get, Mom. And then let's play this out. You have to pay it back when you sell, when you move permanently, or you die. And then you got to start walking through, what do you need the cash for?
Yeah, because what if you go to sell the house and you've taken all the equity out, you're upside down. And by the way, that burden passes to you.
Right.
Yeah. I just think I think the only way to get her talking about this is asking questions and not putting her on. Don't make statements because that puts somebody on the defensive. But I think you got to hope that she sees the numbers and goes, oof, this is not a good idea. Thanks for the call, man. You're a good son. But I would step into the conversation. This is The Ramsey Show. The Ramsey Show continues to bring you some hope through some practical answers on how you can win with your money, win in your work, and win in your relationships. 888-825-5225 is the phone number. We'd love to hear from you. 888-825-5225. I'm Ken Coleman. Jade Warshaw joins me. And we go to Alan now. Wait a second. I got ahead of myself. How could I forget?
Pregunta.
In my hands, the question of the day, and it comes from Matt in Minnesota.
Yeah, he says, I'm a young attorney and an aspiring stand-up comedian. I'm single with no kids, no student loans, and a great job in my field. However, it has always been my dream to be a comedian. I have my feet planted in my local scene, but if I continue to gain some traction, I'd love to pursue comedy full-time, which would require me to quit practicing law in the capacity that I do now. I also would likely have to relocate to a major city such as Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles. This change is a couple years down the road, but in the meantime, what steps would you advise me to take from a financial standpoint in order to put me in the best position to succeed as an entertainer in the future?
Oh,
I love this question so much. This is great.
I got some ideas too. What say you?
I think that, listen, I love that you're a comedian. The first question I always ask, are you good? Like, I want to know, are you good? And don't ask mom, don't ask grandma, don't ask a family member. Get real feedback as to if you are good and if this is something that you can even become good at, because everybody thinks they're good. So that's part one that's the first step in this journey. Like, do I have what it takes?
By the way, this industry, it's pretty easy to know.
Yeah.
Because if you keep getting invited back to comedy clubs, because here's the deal. People who own comedy clubs, they will not put in a comedian who sucks.
No.
They just won't. So that's the good news. Plus, you're going to get feedback from the live audience, too.
Live audience.
So it's kind of hard to be a delusional comedian.
Yeah.
Kind of hard.
And put yourself out out there, like in a lot of different environments, not just the same environment. So let's talk about this practically. Number one, I can tell you about my husband and I, right? Because we started as entertainers. My husband's still an entertainer. And I will say you have a great situation where you're practicing law. It sounds like there might be a portion of that where you don't necessarily have to do it full time if you're kind of in your own, like doing your own thing. Maybe there's some work that you can do on the side. But my point in saying that is, until you are doing comedy full time, you do have to have a day job. Like there's got to be something that you're bringing money in. And it is nice to have, if you can now secure 3 to 6 months of expenses or a little bit more, that is going to be really great for you because it kind of frees you up. It's like, okay, I'm waiting tables in the day and I'm doing this thing at night, or I'm taking a couple of cases, here or there, the easier stuff in the day, and I'm doing this comedy at night. And for you, it's about chasing down the right agent to make sure this person is really helping you get booked, which, by the way, is a clue to what we talked about earlier, Ken. If you're having a trouble getting an agent, you're not doing very well. Matter of fact, first time on the Ramsey show, Christian's going to pick up before you leave. My husband's an agent. We own a talent agency. So I'm going to give him my husband's phone number, or not phone number, email address. You can email him and he'll review it for you.
Okay.
And so we'll tell you or not, and we will be honest. And if you're good, we book cruise lines. So, hey, there you go.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pick up on that part of the advice. I love this. I would do a couple of things. One, I would be, if I'm getting paid anything, even small stuff for local clubs or gigs that maybe that Jade's husband gets you or whatever, I'd be stacking.
Yes.
I agree with it. I would do 12 months. I would not move to a city to go all in on comedy until I had 12 months expenses. Because you're a lawyer, you are not going to be desolate and homeless living under a bridge. But I would give yourself 12 months to absolutely go all in. 12 months expenses would be a minimum for me. To the extent that you could save up even more. Beyond that is all gravy, but I would say minimum 12 months.
Yeah.
The other thing is I would also challenge your idea that you have to live in those cities.
True.
I'm going to challenge that. I'm not saying that I'm right, and I'm not saying that you don't have to, but I want you to dig into that a little bit and go, okay, I understand why you're saying New York, LA, Chicago, because legendary comedy clubs, there's more of it, a lot more places to work. However, I love the idea of an agent or a promoter behind you like Jay's husband, because listen, man, you can make really good money on cruise ships.
And there's land circuits that if you get the right agent, like I have buddies that don't live in those major cities. Like I can tell you right now, like there's circuits in Phoenix, in the Arizona area, in Texas, where it's like you live in Fort Lauderdale, but they fly you out there and you can do 3 months of solid touring. Like there's real networks out there. So yes,
I love that.
Lots of options.
That's where I was going is, okay, I don't have to live in Chicago, but because I'm in a great cash position and I'm making really good money, I can zip in, zip out.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't hurt to be, in Atlanta, Chicago, like it
doesn't.
Las Vegas.
Proximity matters.
It does matter.
There is no question.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that loosely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I tell you this, I could figure it out.
Yeah.
I can talk to comedians and I can figure it out pretty quick. And you can do the same because you know the industry. So thanks for the question. Really good stuff. Let's go to Alan now in Kansas City. Alan, how can we help today?
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
So in the next 60 days or so, I'm going to be going and purchasing a new car. I'm going to be paying cash for it. It's going to cost me around $30,000 to $32,000. I'm just trying to find out what's the best way to negotiate to make sure I get the best price. I mean, should I just go in and tell them, hey, I don't need your stupid financing, or should I kind of string them along?
Are this a brand new car?
What's the best way to do this?
Well, let's talk brand new. Is this going to be brand new?
Okay. Yes, it's going to be brand new.
And you've got the $30,000 to $32,000 saved up cash?
Yes.
All right, what's your income?
About $120,000.
Okay.
Do you need this car? Like, is it, you need to get a car?
I'm going to be. My car I currently has near 200,000 miles, and I'm basically going to drive it for as long as I can, but I think it's going to be just a couple of months.
Okay. My point is, you're not desperate. Like that for me.
Not currently, no.
Ken will give you the good on this, but my number one thing is I never like to go buy something in a desperate state. I like to feel like I can move on. Like I can go to another dealer. I can go to another lot. I can move on to like that. There is so much power in being able to go, nah.
Yeah. Here's what I would do in this situation. I would do your homework on it and just see what that car is going for at multiple different places. I'm assuming you've got the car and the actual, you know exactly what you want, correct?
Yes, I know exactly what I want.
Yeah, you know, all these car lots, by the way, they tell you no haggle, but I've just bought cars for, let's see, I got one for my wife, I got one for my 2 boys. So I'm in the middle of this. And I will tell you, here's what I've learned, Jade. The no haggle doesn't include all these ridiculous fees they stick on it.
That's true.
So all these car lots now say no haggle. And I did a very popular segment on the show called We Need the Haggle. We need more, like what happened?
Bring back the haggle.
Bring back the haggle. I mean, so here's how I would do it. I'd walk in and you can go look. I know that you guys, this is your no haggle pricing, but and let's say it's a $32,000 car and just go, I can't go over 28. And they're going to look at you and the guy's going to go, well, let me go talk to my manager.
I hate when they say that.
But here's the deal. I love it. I just sit there and look so like I'm ready to leave, like I can't get out of there fast enough. And they know I got this guy about ready to leave. I got to hook him. So here's what they start doing.
Yeah.
You look at show me the sheet. Show me how you came up with 32. What's the 32.5? They give you a sheet. By the way, you start going, what's this fee?
Title
what's
transfer.
This fee? Just go.
Paperwork.
I don't know what these fees are. I'm not paying these fees. I'm only going to give you this number. And it needs to be lower than what they're doing. And I had this happen. Now, I walked on all of them, Jade.
Yeah.
But multiple times I had car dealers drop the number. So this idea of no haggle is not true.
Yeah.
Haggle away. And so that's how I negotiate. Go, no, listen, I'm a cash buyer. This is what I'm looking for. I'm not going to pay this. So I'm going to go until I get this price. And I'm almost guaranteeing you'll get the price that you want.
I will say, though, it's tougher. It can be tougher with the cash because they're not making any money off of that. They only make the money off the finance. So in some ways, you do have to push.
Yeah, maybe. But Alan, I'd also go at the end of the month, too. Always go at the end of the month when they got to hit their sales quotas.
That's a good point.
They got to close some deals. Last day of the month, in my opinion, is always the best day to buy a car because they got to close a deal. And it's got to be my deal. That's how I would do it, but you can try it another way. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. Thrilled to have you with us. I'm Ken Coleman. Jade Warshaw joins me in studio. 888-825-5225 is the phone number. The best way to make the most of your money is by creating and sticking to a monthly budget. Every dollar is the way to do it. It makes it simple to plan spending, track expenses, and save for what matters most. And it's all in an easy-to-use app that fits into your busy lifestyle. Keep a pulse on your spending and make progress on your money goals with Every Dollar. Download Every Dollar for free in the App Store or Google Play. That's Every Dollar. Download it for free in the App Store or Google Play. Liz is up next in Spokane, Washington. Liz, how can we help?
Hi, Ken. Hi, Jade. I have a question about buying my first house.
Okay.
All right.
So I am 26. I make $140K per year. My take-home pay after taxes is about $110 per year. I have no debt. I have $60K in retirement and $60K in cash. I'm starting to kind of think about what it's going to be like to buy my first house. However, I'm really, really debt adverse, and the thought of getting a mortgage is absolutely terrifying. So I've always wanted to save up and buy a house cash. That's kind of always been, my goal that I would hope to do. So currently I'm saving about $40K per year in cash savings. And so at that rate, where I live, it would take me probably 6 or 7 years to save up for a house, which would be okay. But I'm afraid that in 6 or 7 years, houses are not going to be $300K. Now they're going to be $400K. And so I'm afraid that if I save up and buy cash, I'll be spending 10 or 15 years saving and then paying essentially double what I would have paid if I had just bought now.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of torn between getting a mortgage or not.
There's a part to that where you're constantly chasing, that rainbow as far as the house price is concerned. So while I agree with you, being able to pay cash for a house is excellent. And that's really the number one way that if you can buy a house, you should buy a house. But there does come a point where, for the average person with their average salary, there is a point where it's like, okay, shouldn't I just jump in already? And I think in your case, the answer to that would be yes, but at what point? So just to recap, no, there's no debt. You said you have $60K in cash, $60K in a 401k. Is that what I heard? Is there any other liquid money? Because the 401k doesn't count? Okay.
Yeah, and it's not just 401k. It's mostly Roth. There's some in a Roth, some in a 401k, and then a little bit of that is just personal investments. I think maybe about 10 to 15k.
Okay, the 10 to 15k, that's personal investments like a brokerage account, non-retirement?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. And what's that earmarked for?
Retirement as well. At my current career track, I plan that I'll probably be retiring before I'm able to withdraw from my retirement account.
Okay, so
I
it's
just
like
also
a bridge.
want to have a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so that's earmarked for that. So that means we won't touch it. Is it in mutual funds? It's not in like single stocks and stuff like that?
Correct. It's in mutual funds.
Good deal. Okay, so right now, unless I'm missing something, I'm seeing a person with a great income with 3 to 6 months of expenses, which is basically your $60K. That's around 6 months or more. What portion of that $60K can you put towards a down payment?
So my expenses right now are actually really quite low. And so I only have 10K of that as my emergency fund. And then the other 50K is currently my house fund.
Okay, so 10K, how does that work? You're saying that you can exist for 6 months on $10,000?
No, that's 3 months.
Okay,
I'm
3
not.
months.
Yeah.
Are you single?
I feel comfortable with 3 months.
Okay, you're single?
I am, yeah.
Okay. I'm poking holes in this because since you're afraid, I want to make sure that everything is right on so you don't have to be afraid of anything. Here's where I would poke holes in your emergency fund. Because it's the only income you have going in and it's just you. One stream of income makes me want 6 months of expenses. Because if something happens, it's all on you. So that's the first thing that I would beef up, and that's going to make you feel better. Second thing I'd beef up is if you buy this house, your life, what it takes to keep your life going also goes up slightly. So if you really want to feel great about this, you'd kind of project it out and say, okay, if I get this house for $280,000 or for $300,000, what's my mortgage going to be? What's my life going to look like? And what would 6 months be of that lifestyle? Because that's the lifestyle you're going into. That might be what I would shoot for in your case, right? What you're going towards.
That makes sense.
And then from there, it's like, okay, now let's talk about our down payment. To your point, you're saving $40,000 a year. How much do you need to have? Like, what do you want to get to? Do you want to get to 50% down? Do you want to get to 40% down, 20% down? So I would start running those numbers out. I wouldn't go beyond like a 2-year, 3-year deal on this. That's as long as I take to save up, assuming you've already got the 5 to 20%.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, I definitely want to do 20% minimum. I'm not really willing to do any less than that. But you think instead of saying, okay, I'm going to save up to 50%, I should say, all right, I'm going to save it for 3 years. And as long as I have over 20%, move forward at that point.
Yeah, I'd either set it at a dollar amount or a time amount. And that's up to you, because part of this is I don't want this, because if you're toggling between baby step 3B, which is saving for the down payment, and baby step 4, which is saving 15%, I do want a time limit on this because I want to make sure that you're investing 15% sooner than later. But if you're not toggling, if you're like, listen, I'm doing the 15% now and I still have a lot of margin, yeah, play with the 3-year span. But like I said, I mean, Ken, if it's me, I'm pulling the trigger at least after like 3 years. I don't think I'm going to run this out 7 years.
I agree with your reasoning because you want her investing and we want you to start to get the compound interest going. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Oh, yeah. So Jade's got you at 29, and still that gives you a lot of time to invest. The other thing I would be thinking about is okay, let me rework this and go, all right, this number I want to get, if I wanted to get to that number, and I don't mind you shooting for 50% down, don't think you have to, and I agree with Jade, but let's say you want to do that. You're single now, so I would start to go, what would I have to do and how much would I have to make in addition to what I'm already making and saving to get to that number in the same 3-year period? I would at least run that exercise, right? So, for instance, if you said to me, and I'm making this up, I'd have to save another $20,000 a year. I'm just using that as a random number in order to get to this number within 3 years that Jade is coaching me on, because I think Jade's absolutely right on that. 2 to 3 years to me is right. So I would then go, all right, so if it's 20,000 more, then that's X amount a month I've got to save. I'm going to go make that. And I'm going to make this thing happen faster. I just think that would be something I would consider.
Yeah. I mean, 3 years, you said 40,000 a year. 3 years gets you 40, 80, 120, right?
Yeah. So
Which
let's
is
say
great.
If she wanted to add an additional 20 per year there,
That's right.
you start breaking that down, and that's, less than $1,500 a month, or right at that, right? Is my math right? No, it's a little bit shy of that. So it's just a little bit above $1,500 more a month gets you an additional $20,000. So it's that kind of thing, just to start looking at all your options to go, oh, okay. But I think Jade's right in wanting to get you investing that 15% as soon as possible.
Well, and I think that's part of it as well. I am already investing. Currently, my savings, it gets me to about 40K. I have about 60K of extra income per year that I don't need or spend on anything. And so currently 40K of that is going into savings, and 20K is going into hitting my Roth contribution, and then extra investing on top of that.
So you're investing.
Another thing that I was thinking.
Are you investing more than 15%?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I would swap that. I would. There's your money right there. Hit 15%. That's max right now. Focus everything else at the down payment. And then once you buy the house, now that extra money goes to pay off the house. And then you're going to have exactly what you want really, really quickly, which is a paid off house that you don't owe anybody on. And then once the house is paid off, then you can take that margin that you have and you can throw all of it at your investments. So number one, like Liz, you're amazing. Hey, I want to make sure that you have everything you need. You can check out RamseySolutions.com/real estate. And it's a hub that's got everything that you could ever need. And when the time comes for you to actually get the house and start looking, you can go to RamseySolutions.com/agent, and that's where you can find a really great agent to help you find the perfect house for you in your price range.
Yeah, awesome. Love that, and love just how focused she is.
Man, I wasn't like that at that age.
Are you kidding me? She's going to be fine one way or the other, and I thought that was really good advice. Now it's nice to know she's actually already invested the 15%, so really good stuff. All right, we got to take a quick break, but we're not going anywhere. We don't want you either. She is Jade Warshaw. I'm Ken Coleman, and you're listening to The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. Thrilled to have you with us. The phone number to jump in on the conversation is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. I'm Ken Coleman. Jade Warshaw joins me. Our scripture of the day comes from Proverbs 21:5. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. Our quote of the day from none other than the Fresh Prince himself.
Hey.
Will Smith. Being realistic is the most commonly traveled road to mediocrity.
Ooh, that's a little bit of a mic drop, Will.
I know.
Big Willie Styles.
I would say he slapped us with some common sense there, but probably not the best thing
very
to say.
Good, Ken
You like
Coleman.
what I did there? He's never gonna get. I don't care. And I'm all for restoration and rehabilitation.
No, you can't.
He is never going to live that down.
No, never.
As great a work as he has done.
I know. No, I still love Will Smith, but that was a wacky moment in time.
Oh, man. Wow. It's still shocking to me.
I was watching it live. I was on a plane.
I thought it was a joke.
I was on a plane, and you're live streaming, and I was like looking around like, did anybody see this?
Yeah. I thought it was an act.
Yeah.
And then I saw it in slow-mo, and I was like, nope.
It ain't an act.
Not an act.
Wow.
All right, let's go to Beth in Seattle, Washington. Beth, how can we help today?
Hi, I'm so excited to be talking with you. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. We're excited to talk to you. What is happening?
I'm wondering if you guys could help me think through a framework for deciding how much money I should put into my kids' 529 plans.
Okay.
I've been using some Ramsey tools, but I'm getting stuck, and I'm so excited to talk to both of you because, Jade, I know you have young kids, which is where I'm at, and Ken, I know you have a really good pulse on this collegiate environment.
Sure. Well,
So
tell us
I'd
about
love
the
any
kiddos.
advice.
Yeah, so start with tell us how old the kids are and what you've got saved or what you are thinking about saving.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I have a 4-month-old, a 1.5-year-old, and a 3.5-year-old.
Okay.
And right now we are just putting in a couple $100 a month for each kid into their 529s.
Mm-hmm.
But my husband has like quarterly stocks that vest. And so in the future, we want to put something bigger. And I've heard Dave tell folks like, hey, if you have some money sitting around, an initial investment of $50K can sometimes do the trick. But when I've used the Ramsey calculator online, it's telling me to put in more than that. And Ken, I've also heard you say that the landscape for college is probably going to significantly change by the time my kids age in. So I'm just a little bit stuck. I don't want to overfund, but I also want to be a good steward and plan well for the future.
Well, let me address my part really fast because mine is the fastest, and then Jade can walk you through this. I do say that, and I do agree that the landscape is going to look very different. Education, higher education as we know it, is going to be very, very different by the time your kiddos are there. However, the 529 has so much broad usage of it as it relates to any kind of training. I don't think education is disappearing. I just think it's going to look very different. So the 529 is still so I just wanted to clear that up in case you were wondering what I think about that. I think the 529 is a wonderful vehicle. As far as the amount goes, you're off to a pretty good start, as young as they are. Jade, what do you think on that?
I think the first place to start is what your target is, because then you can kind of work backwards. Mm-hmm. And so if there has to be a set of assumptions in order to figure out that target. So if the assumption is, okay, I'm assuming all of these 3 kids are going to go to some form of higher education, what do we want to spend for them? Like that's really what it is what are we willing to spend? What makes sense for us? Do we want each of them to have $90,000? Do we want each of them to have $120,000? And so if you and your husband can get together and say, what do we want? And then just run those numbers. Start with what the best, and then run those numbers back and you go, oh, maybe that's not possible. Okay, then what would be our next ideal? Okay, run those numbers. Okay, that could be possible. So start with that in mind and use an investment calculator in order to do that. I mean, I just threw some numbers in here. I'm like, okay, if you invested $300 per kid, right, for the next 18 years, you're going to have around $180,000, right? So start with that. And then what you can look at that whole equation and go, okay, now, do we want to be able to pay 100%, or do we want the kids to have some skin in the game? And if so, what do we think about that? So I think these are the questions that you ask, because if you don't have a clear target, then, what are you really shooting for? And you don't know if you've won or if it was successful or if you hit the goal or not, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. And here's the deal. This is a bit of a moving target. So, you start looking at, okay, state schools. So where you all live, I have no idea what the state of Washington has. Are there breaks, taxpayer funded, tuition breaks, those kinds of things. You start looking at state schools, but just to give you an idea, just to give you a number, just to use Jade's formula here. I got a friend of mine, lives here in the Nashville area. His kid got a bunch of scholarships, great grades, going to Auburn, SEC school, Jade, going to Auburn, not far from here, okay? Yeah. It's going to be $45 a year.
That's a lot.
So you start adding that up. For simple math, let's just round it down to 40.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at $160,000. So at that rate, what you're already doing for the kids, you're going to be there. Mm-hmm. So you start looking at that and you're going, but what's it going to be 18 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
You can't,
you don't know.
We just don't know. And so try to be as practical as you can. But I think just at the rate you're doing right now, I think you're going to be in really good shape, a big chunk of change for each kid. Cause you're just a bit under, did you say we're doing $300 a month for each kid?
That was just me throwing that out.
200. So, but Jade ran some numbers at 300 and it's $180,000 per kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're not far off of that.
No.
And so it's a moving target.
Yeah.
But boy, it goes a long way.
It does. Yeah, I think it does. And I do think, Ken, your kids are older than mine, but as they grow, you start to see who they're shaping into, and you can start making those adjustments.
You may have a kid that goes to a trade school. And by the way, the 529 can be used for that.
That's right.
You may have a kid who goes, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want this certificate. So again, this money can be liberally used and widely used. So does that help you in the sense of what I want to make sure we answered your question, because there's no specific number we would tell you.
That it honestly is so helpful, and it's helpful to hear you guys say yep, it's a bit of a gamble. You're just doing your best with the information that you have, and you keep checking in and change your plan accordingly. So,
and if you overfund it, I mean, remember, you get the money back from scholarships. You can pull that back out. If they end up getting full rides, you can pull that back out of the 529.
Right. That's right.
So it's not lost forever.
Yeah.
And if you get down to it, we had a caller calling the other week, Ken, and they had massively overfunded the 529s. It was $80,000 left. And it was listen, at that point, we just told them, hey, if you want to pull it out and take the 10% hit.
Yeah. No one's griping about having extra money. You had to pay taxes on.
Yeah. So
there really is no risk at all, Beth. No risk.
Okay. Hey, thank you both so much for putting my mind at ease.
Good.
I appreciate it.
You guys are doing great, actually, to get ahead of it that early.
Yeah, smart.
It's fantastic stuff. And that, again, back to the compound interest calculator.
Love it.
It's my friend. You start putting in that was what you ran. I want everybody to hear this.
Yeah.
You ran $300 a month times 3 kids, so it was a $900 investment from the time they're babies.
Yeah.
She only has one toddler.
Yeah.
I think, a 3-year-old.
Yeah, she had the 4-month-old, 1.5, 3.5.
Okay, so 2, and you're looking at $180,000 for each kid.
That's great.
That goes a long way.
Yeah.
Towards really expensive schooling. Schools are insanely expensive.
Yes.
Although I do think something will have to give. And I really believe I can't even begin to get a crystal ball out for 18 years from now on higher education, but something has to give. The student loan to the trillions of dollars, the American people, 46% of American parents say they wish their kids would go to trade school. If colleges and universities were running for president, they wouldn't probably get elected. You know what I mean?
Facts.
They're suffering a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that only gets worse unless something happens with tuition.
Something's got to happen with tuition. Yes.
You know what I mean?
But in the meantime, all we can do is save up and do our best, and you can only afford what you can afford. And at the end of the day, that's the guiding light.
Speaking of guiding lights, she is Jade Warshaw, my co-host.
Happy birthday,
James Childs. Thank you, my friend. And thank you, America, for listening. This is The Ramsey Show.